the recording. Perfect. There you are.
Okay. Well, thank you very much. It's for me a pleasure to be here, to be invited in this new conference. I developed this Python CVM BBS, which is a work in progress, a little framework made in Python language. And everybody can use it to make BBSs. I am a Commodore enthusiast since 1983. I've been a sysop and co-sysop since 1985. Right now, I'm hosting a BBS using this framework also, and I live in Lima, Peru. So I will start with the presentation. Why doing this again? Well, CVM scene is very strong across the world. We have several communities developing, creating a lot of things, a lot of programs, utilities, tools for a Commodore. And BBSs were and are always cool. Joining to a BBS or running a BBS by yourself. Dedicating a C64 right now, a Commodore 128 or any computer from that era to run a BBS, I believe is very expensive and probably not optimal because you cannot have the benefit of multiple concurrent users with a little effort. We can run on a simple server like a Raspberry Pi. And there are a lot of new Wi-Fi modems that I believe should be enabling a new wave of new Commodore software. Maybe more network games, as really they are not too much. Wi-Fi modems for the Commodore are already available. For example, I'm becoming very popular. The first one I knew several years ago was this one based on the ESP8266 microcontroller developed by Carlos Santiago and Bo Zimmerman. Later on, like in 2021, probably 2020, the German group sent a new BBS, a new service with a device called the VIC64 by GMP, Kiwi, Lazy Jones, YPS, and it is a device pictured here that runs at 20K BPS. And this year, weeks ago, it was announced in Argentina, the Turbo 56K by Jorge Castillo. This is a very interesting project, very similar to the VIC64, because not only they are making in the hardware, but also a service that takes advantage on the speed and some particularities they have discovered to transfer images and files at a very high speeds. And of course, if you don't have a Wi-Fi modem, you can use an emulator like Vice and TCP/SER, and also Mister with FPGA that also has a UP9600 emulation. As I told you a couple of minutes ago, I run C64 World, which is a World clone, but runs on a BBS online. I have it developed entirely with Python CVBS framework. It's hosted on a Raspberry Pi. You can find us at this URL, IP address, and this port. And the source code for Wordle also can be available in our GitHub soon. So how to develop your own, how to make your own BBS. First of all, you can go to our GitHub and download all the files that are inside Python CVM petscii BBS. You install Python, you copy the script, execute the provided MySQL commands, which are on the page, and then install the MySQL connector that can that's gonna make Python reach your MySQL. and run a script, Python 3 bbs.py, and it will start. I'm going to describe some of the sections. For example, the petscii codes conversion, which are on the file func.py, which have all the functions there. I'm going to make, I don't know if I can make alt tab here, and no, well, no problem. You have only two files, the func.py, which has this section. To develop this dictionary, I visited this page, STA C64 World, and thanks God they have everything. And I took, for example, this A, which is the capitalized A within the graphics mode, which is a C1. So in my dictionary, I put A is a byte, X, which is the connotation of binary, C1. So, or hexadecimal. So I made this dictionary, so it's already done. You don't have to do it. Then the BBS imports the socket. And here, the only thing you have to do is put your host or leave empty for any IP. Put a port that you want to make it run. And the server will be waiting for a connection when you execute it. There are like a simple, very simple main loop, which is waiting for a call. This is running. And each time somebody accesses, it starts a thread, a threaded client. Each threaded client will start a user session. A user session will be like a function within your program, your Python program. For example, this is a user session that I made for Wordle, but it's also inside the bbs.py. And you define the function, and while true, you're going to greet the user. You make another function, do welcome connection. This does login and registers a new user, do login connection, and then sends the user to the main contents, do BBS loop. You can make any function and call it here, which is inside this loop, which is executed each time a new connection, a new user session is created. So some of the functions that you will need when you create a section, a function inside your BBS. For example, if you want to input a line of text, for the username, we have this function already done, which is called input line. The only thing you have to pass is the connection variable, and this will input a line of text. Or if you want to input a password, we have the function input pass, which it will output stars instead of the letters. And if you want to get a single char for one key press, we have the get char function already done. Sending text to the user, we have cursor change. Send cursor is the function, and you input the connection and the thing you want to send. For example, to clear a screen, we have the clear command. We have also home command, blue, red, yellow, any color can be sent through this send cursor change. And if you want to change the cursor position, you have a cursor XY command that will change the cursor position to a next column line Y. And if you want to send a simple message, we have the send line function that will auto-convert what you type in your Python script to the proper petscii equivalent. You can also send petscii graphics using sequential files. For example, this is the website called petscii.chris.hu. I'm going to change my screen to there. Oh, I cannot. I don't know how to reach the, okay. And I have this drawing that I made with the edit, but at the end, when you start, make your draw, you have to export it, and you export it as a sequential file. Then I recommend to open an X editor. This is the same file I edited, and normally delete all the leading spaces and the trailing spaces also, to have only the data you want to send to the user. So here, to send the file is very easy. You only have one command, send sequential, and you pass the connection and the file, which is right now in a folder called sec. So sec logo menu dot sequence, and it will send the colored file to the user. And that's it. Thank you very much. And I'm sharing my Twitter account to stay in touch. I don't know if I took much time that was already provided. I don't know the time I took.
I think you're perfectly with the time. Let me check that. Yes, no, we had counted even more time for you, so that's fine. But now let's see if there are any questions. I see already something in the chat. No, it's just a comment. Awesome, perfect. I don't know, is there any question for you from the attendees? Let's see, maybe on Facebook. I don't see. I see some comments. People saying good evening, but no specific questions. Maybe I had one then. So you showed this let's say sequential file or whatever, but if you want to configure it, configure something, or just create new extra menus and and have some interaction, then you need to do it coding by using the existing functions and creating new functions, right?
Yeah, yeah. I can show you, for example, part of the code as we have time. I'm going to enter to. This is a VBS I made with a. I'm going to edit the. And here, well, it's the same. They are the sections that I was telling you. And for example, in this part, I clear the screen, go to the home, no, which is the topmost in the left. And then the only thing I do is send sequence, and I send the logo menu. There I change the cursor to 10, X10, Y7, and I send line top layer list. And for example, here I execute the query. What I do is I'm gonna go to the section which is the menu. Here, for example, no? I'm drawing the word. I go to clear home. I send the menu. I send portions of lines, and I believe this part is going to be better if I connect through Vice. I'm gonna call. It's calling right now.
And you said it's hosted on a Raspberry Pi.
Yeah.
Right? So okay.
I'm gonna enter here. Oh, right now I already ended the game, so I cannot play the game. But I'm gonna make a new. For example, this cola is a sequential file that is sent at the end.
Okay. Yeah.
So that's it normally. What I do, you paint, and then you ask for input, and then you clear the screen and you send new text. It's very, very, very easy to make a VBS with this.
Okay. Do you know of any other VBS currently running with
No, right now,
this
piece of code is under development. I am sharing what I do in my GitHub page. The only VBS running is the one I made.
Okay.
Which is this.
That you know about. It could be that's
probably, yeah. That's not that happens on the internet.
Yeah. Okay, good.
Okay.
I don't see any other question. I would say thanks a lot, Javier. I will
Thank you, Sebastian.
Stop the recording now. You sure you want to stop recording?